Okay, so we're here once again in Mining Simulator 2, and in today's video we're going to be helping out the newer players to the game with some really good tips on how to play the game, where to go, and what the best things are to do within the game to become pro. So here are the best tips for the newer players, and let's get straight into it. So these won't be in any particular order, they're just some random tips, so make sure you do watch the full video in case you are looking for something specific. It'll most likely be in this video, so yeah, let's get straight through it. And the first one is, when it comes to the achievements, don't actually grind specifically for each achievement, because you will get all of these done naturally throughout the game. Of course, a lot of these rewards will be very enticing to grind for, especially some of the easier ones. Maybe like you want to get a crate. 500 blocks honestly isn't really that hard to get through anyways. But yeah, most of these achievements you will genuinely just get naturally playing the game, especially some of these higher ones when you're doing things like rebirthing, of course, as well. 350 rebirths might be like one of the only ones that you have to actually actively grind for. However, most of these other achievements, honestly, you will get naturally anyways, so don't spend and waste any time really grinding for those specific achievements. Instead, spend that time grinding through the season challenges. Now, these season challenges are going to be a little bit easier to grind through compared to some of the achievements, and as you can see, they're not exactly too hard. Of course, when you first start out the game, you're not really going to be hatching 10,000 eggs that easily. However, once you can actually start playing the game a lot more and grinding the game a lot easier, getting these season challenges done are going to be very, very good and very interesting indeed. For the simple fact that you can get free gems, you can get eggs like so, gems right there, you can get free boosts, more gems, all sorts of really cool boosts, and once you start to get down to the bottom, as you can see, you can even get some free pets. Now, of course, if you do have the premium track as well, you can get even stronger, stronger rewards, better gems, and more eggs, and a stronger tier 20 pet as well. But yeah, basically these things can really help you out no matter where you are in the game. Even the commons for a lot of people, if you just quickly check out this thing right now, as you can see, if we just quickly find out where the rabbit is, as you can see, this thing honestly does have some really good stats for the newer players, so it's definitely worth just trying to grind at least one or two of those challenges, unlocking the first set of eggs and trying to get some of these stuff. So yeah, make sure you do spend time grinding those season challenges as well. And another really good tip is that 1 million blocks is going to be one of the most important milestones within the game, for the simple reason that it will unlock this massive archway here. Usually when you start out the game, this will be locked behind a 1 million blocks wall, and all you need to do is grind up and mine 1 million blocks, and this will open up a whole different part of the game with all sorts of really cool features, and also the rest of the worlds within the game, such as the Candyland and also all of the event worlds that will come in future updates. And of course, speaking of all of the event worlds, it is 100% guaranteed to be the easiest way to grind throughout the game when you first start out. As you can see over here right now, we do have the Halloween world, and if you do start to get a little bit of mining power, you can actually start to mine through these worlds pretty quickly. 35,000 blocks on there might seem quite a lot, especially to a newer player. However, there's also things up here like trick-or-treating that you can use to go around and also collect a lot of currency, and especially then, once you start to get like some of these eggs and stuff, they can be really overpowered, such as this candy corn egg. Even some of the commons in here are going to be way stronger than a lot of things you've seen before, so it's definitely an easy way to start using all of the event worlds to become really pro. And of course, in event worlds there's always these event shops as well, with these event shop pets. These are always going to be guaranteed to be the strongest things within the update by a long shot. Every single one of these, when they actually came out, was definitely the strongest pet by a long way. The mystical potion was honestly one of the most hyped up pets that we've seen for a long time, comparing it how strong it was to some other stuff. Same for the Lantern Wisp and the Jackal Puff as well. All of these were very strong, so when you do first start out an event world, make sure you're trying to grind up for these event shop pets, because they'll make your life so much easier and so much better when you are playing the game. Now, continuing on with the next tip, and usually when it comes to event worlds, you want to be hatching out all the eggs you can. However, when it comes to actually using your boosts, make sure you're not using too much. You may kind of want, just to get it all on there, see how lucky you can get. However, what I would recommend doing is kind of just thinking, how long am I going to be hatching for? How long am I going to be AFKing for? Or how long am I going to be mining for? And then that's how much boost you actually want to use. Say you are here just playing around, honestly just put on 30 minutes of boost at a time instead of putting on 5 hours, because a lot of that time you may just end up going off mining and wasting a lot of that luck boost. So honestly, just make sure you're not using all of your boost at once, and just kind of, you know, use it sparingly and make sure you're actually using it to its maximum potential and use the full amount of the boost as well. And another way as well in terms of boosts is the index. Now you can get a lot of really good rewards here, such as gems. You can get a lot of boosts from here as well, depending on what eggs you actually get them from. And especially some of these further down ones, you can get a lot of boost, such as like 2 hours of Omega Lucky boost, which is 4 times luck as well, which is always going to be really strong. Or you can get a massive amount of gems as well, which can help with a lot of different things within the game. Gems is probably one of the most important currencies within the game, especially when you are first starting out. And then of course, getting as many boosts as you can also really help you out, no matter where you are in the game. Even for me, boosts are always going to be one of the most important things within the game, so getting your index rewards is always going to be a must do. And then moving on as well, you can also get free boosts using different codes. Now there's multiple ways to find these codes. There's probably websites that already have all the Mining Simulator 2 codes on there. There's videos as well on YouTube, and of course you can join the Rumble Studios Discord server or watch or go on their Twitter page, and all of the codes will be on there as well. I would recommend going to their Discord server because there is a massive list of them in a channel somewhere. It's just called MS2 codes, and literally every single code within the game is right there, and then you can basically just get every single boost that is available. So make sure as well that you are joining that Discord server and getting all of the boosts you possibly can, because it can really help out. Next up, the next tip is honestly something that is going to help out a lot of players, and that is the debug mode. So basically to find this, all you need to do is go into the options menu, come down here, scroll down under visual, and it'll say debug mode. And once you click this, it'll open up this little menu down here with all sorts of really useful information, such as the server version, which can be good for when like small tweaks happen in an update that may like buff or nerf something, maybe like fixes as well. So it's always important to look what kind of like server version you're in as well. Can be good as well to see what world and like whereabouts you are, your position maybe, but the most important part about this is these stats down here. Now there's not really any other way to see these stats apart from using the debug mode. You can see how much mining power you have, your whole coins multiplier, how much speed multiplier you have, and even your luck multiplier as well, which can be very useful for knowing what eggs to grind and where to actually go grinding. So honestly, all of this is very useful indeed, and I would highly recommend opening up the debug menu as much as you can just to see what overall stats you have, because it can really help. And continuing on with the options as well, if you are lagging quite a lot, say that you can't really run the game that smoothly, there is a lot of options within here to help with lag and stuff, such as low detail. Turning this on will basically like kind of get rid of anything that's unnecessary to the game, and like such as particles and like shadows and things like that, and can really help reduce lag, as well as hiding pets as well. If you are in a public server, all of these pets a lot of the time can really make it hard to see and honestly slow down your game quite a lot. So it's good to have this turned on, just so then you're hiding all the pets and there's no like extra things kind of blocking your view. And also turning down the UI scale can also help, because for some reason having the UI scale all the way up to the max can actually start to lag out your game quite a bit. So having your UI scale down to the bottom can really help with, you know, seeing things as well as reducing that lag as well. So those are some really important different things that will help reduce the lag within the game. Now another one as well, and this is probably a really important one to do just to save yourself some time in the future. Now if you are currently grinding in the overworld, which is of course the starter area, there is like some really important ores down near the bottom that you will need to collect once you are like kind of going through, especially once you start to get to the molten core, the underworld, and the crystal cavern as well. One of these ores is called the fire shard. Now what the fire shard is useful for is actually crafting shiny pets, and the reason why it's important is of course if you can craft shiny pets, that means that you can make your team way stronger, and usually the pets are around 2 times stronger as well. So make sure you are saving up these fire shards to actually use within the forge to make your shiny pets. And of course as well, if you do have any of the fire shards currently in your inventory, you can see this over here in the ores menu like so. What you can actually go ahead and do is store these fire shards within the forge itself, so then you don't have to go grinding. As you can see, you can actually store up to 5,000 of these, which is always going to be pretty good. I have 121 stored in here right now, which means that I can basically come up to this anytime I want, select any pets that I want to actually make shiny, and then I could just do that instantly without having to go mining for any extra fire shards. And right there, I've already just made my another shiny, really easy and really quickly. So it's a good thing to do to actually store those fire shards in there. And in case you are wondering or a bit worried about anything else that may be happening in the game, such as, like, you know, stealing your ores accidentally or something like that, what you can actually do is come up to here into your ores menu right here, and you can actually lock specific ores like so. And as you can see now, if I go over here to sell these, it will sell the unlocked blocks like so. However, this ore is completely locked and will not sell until I unlock it. However, if you do go ahead and rebirth like so, I'm just going to quickly go ahead and rebirth right now. As you can see, you will actually lose that ore, so make sure if you are actually using that ore for anything specific, do not rebirth until you've actually used up the ore, otherwise it will disappear once you rebirth. So again, if you are locking it, just don't rebirth because it will still disappear. However, if it is locked, it will not sell, so that's always a really good tip as well. And then moving on, if you are doing some rebirths and stuff, again, this is a really important part of the game for getting gems, for getting more coins multiplier and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be really, really helpful. However, there is one thing that you can do once you actually do your first rebirth, and that is this rebirth store over here. So this is mostly accessible from most of the stores within the overworld. All you need to do is just go up to the shop and it will say rebirth store right here. Now if you've never rebirthed before, it will say you must unlock this using a rebirth, meaning that you basically, once you do your first rebirth, this will unlock. And as you can see in here, there's all sorts of really cool stuff, such as some really strong tools right here. These really massive backpacks as well that you can unlock, as well as these crates as well. Now the important thing about this rebirth shop is the fact that basically once you come in here and you actually buy something, these tools will never disappear. However, say you buy something from the normal tool store like this with your coins, once you actually go ahead and rebirth, these will actually disappear from your inventory. So getting as many rebirth tools as possible is going to be really, really good for the future, not just for having some really strong stuff, but making sure that you basically always have a tool ready in your inventory no matter what. Because as you can see, if I go into my items right now and look in my gear, all of these right here are completely rebirth tools. The Riptide is a rebirth tool, the Chaos Bringer is one, the Abyssal Trident, all of these, apart from the wooden pickaxe obviously. The wooden pickaxe isn't actually a rebirth tool, it's just a starter one. And the same for the diamond one, this is like one that you get for like a starter pack or something like that. But all these other ones you will keep no matter how many times you rebirth. Same thing as well for some of the backpacks. As you can see, some of them do actually stick around, so make sure you are getting as many of these different rebirth tools as possible because it will really help out. But one thing in mind, don't actually go crazy with it. My best one right now is of course the Abyssal Trident. However, I still use the Riptide just for the simple fact that right now in my inventory my pets are far stronger than they need to be for each world. So basically when it comes to actually these tools, they're not exactly that great once you actually start to get to the end game, such as when you are really good at the game. So don't go crazy with it, just get a certain one, maybe get like the Riptide, that's probably like the maximum you really need within the game. And then after that, you'll start to see how redundant they'll literally come. But those backpacks can always be really, really good for the whole game. Now this next one as well is a really good one, especially for saving up your gems, and that is when you are going through different worlds, actually save up quite a lot of currency, because as you can see within this factory you can actually get lots of different amount of gems. Now I do have ×2 gems as well as the premium pass, meaning that I do get extra gems. However, if you don't have any game pass, you'll still basically get around 4,000 gems every time you do this. But as you can see, for 2 trillion currency for the candy and the shells, you can actually get a ton of gems, which is always going to be really, really important. So saving up as many of the currency as you can really help with you getting sort of like all sorts of different gems. As you can see, you will get around 4,150 gems for the 2 trillion candy, and then of course once that's cooked you'll get a lot of gems out of it. So this factory can be a really, really good way, and honestly the easiest way of getting gems, because you can see I'm going to get 30,000 every 4 hours, which is honestly because it's just going to be absolutely amazing. So this factory is definitely something that you need to go for. And in terms of the gems as well, most of the time you'll be using them in this gem enchant over here, such as the multi-hatch, the lucky ones, the hatch speed, all that stuff. However, the ones that you really want to be going for are that multi-hatch. They can be really, really important. Lucky as well, the more luck the better. Hatch speed can be pretty important as well. Companionship is definitely one that you need to get, especially near the start of the game, because the more pets you get, the stronger you're going to be, so make sure you do get that companionship one as well. Midas Touch and cheap rebirths can make it a lot easier as well to rebirth, especially when you put them both together. As you can see, it increases the value of items by 25% if you have it maxed out, and rebirths can become 75% cheaper once you have this one maxed out as well. So two of the best ones there to work together, Midas Touch and cheap rebirths, can make it really easy as well. Permanent layers as well is also a really important one to get, because when you do actually rebirth within the game, you will also lose the layers, meaning that you have to mine down through every single layer once again. So as you can see over here with these teleporters, I have all of these unlocked. However, most of these might be greyed out for you, and when you do actually rebirth, say you unlock down to the molten core and then you rebirth, all of these ones beforehand will be locked and you will have to start out from the top once again. But when you get permanent layers, they never get basically they never disappear. You have them unlocked all the time. So permanent layers can be really helpful for like rebirthing and things like that when you do rebirth. So make sure you do get that one as well. Walk speed isn't really that important. I wouldn't say really pet storage also isn't that important, to be honest, either. Multi rebirths is more for like end game when you are starting to get a lot of currency and stuff. So I just say get the other ones. They could be really important to you. And then this final tip as well is some more types of enchants, but a little bit different, and that is if you come into your gear inventory over here and just come down to some different tools. As you can see, there's actually this thing that says enchant, and if you click on it, you can actually get more speed, better strength, and also ore duplicator, which is going to be really important for the whole game. Now, I would basically say don't really waste enchants on anything that is not a rebirth tool. Make sure you're only enchanting rebirth tools, because once you lose that tool, it's going to make it a little bit awkward having to re-enchant it and stuff like that. So if you do have a rebirth tool, make sure you are enchanting it up. As you can see with this ore duplicator now, instead of getting 1 ore every time you mine an ore, you actually get 5 of it to drop in your inventory, which is exactly why it had 5 candy corn before, and this can be a very strong enchant indeed. And of course, getting more strength and speed can also be really important, but this ore duplicator is going to be also the most important one you get on your tool, because it's going to make it a lot easier to rebirth, a lot easier to collect currency, and just a lot easier to play the game and do all sorts of other different quests as well. So yeah, that's just some tips overall on basically how to play the game and other different things as well. So let me know down below if this did help you out, and also if there's any other pro players out there who have any better tips, let me know as well. But yeah, that's it from me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.